everyone, welcome to Cottoverdi. My name's Annette and today I am doing the big dahlia tour of all the dahlias that are in flower currently in my garden. I do this every year and I really enjoy keeping it as a record for everything, and also so that it helps me plan which dahlias I want to grow again next year and perhaps what maybe I'm lacking in the garden. So I'm going to bring you along. I'll put the names up on the screen of all the dahlias that I'm talking about, and I will tell you what I think about each dahlia and whether it's got strong stems or weak stems, or whether it flowers in abundance or perhaps it's a little bit scrawny. So I'll let you know how each one is doing in my garden. Just before we get started, I just wanted to mention that we've had a few problems in the garden this year, things that we don't normally struggle with so much. So people often ask me how I cope with slugs and snails, and I've never really had an enormous problem. Once the plants are big enough, they seem to cope fine. So once they go in the ground, I've not normally struggled. But this year we have had an unbelievable number of slugs and snails. I think this is widespread across the UK. I've heard a lot of people talking about it, and it's definitely been the case in this garden. So I've tried to combat them in organic ways. Make of that what you will, but I've tried not to use any pesticides or anything like that. So we have some dahlias that are still recovering from the slug and snail attack and are only just budding up now and maybe look a little bit scrawnier than they normally would. It's just where they got attacked a bit. The other thing I would say is just a caveat about the garden. So this is our home garden. It's just my husband and myself who do the gardening here, and I have been ill for about a month. I caught COVID a month ago and I've really struggled to get over it. I still have a frog in my throat and I've been really tired, so I haven't been out here deadheading as much as I normally would and tidying things up, and also we didn't stake early enough. So there are some plants that fell over. There are some gaps in the borders where plants just, you know, the stems broke in some strong winds that we had. But you know, this is just a normal garden. Possibly your gardens look similar and have similar gaps and similar things that are falling over. So that's just a caveat, and let's get cracking and I'll show you around the garden. So I'm starting here on the dahlia bed. We call it the dahlia bed because we literally built the bed one year and just planted dahlias in it. There was nothing else. Now it's a normal everyday garden perennial border, so it has loads of other things in it too, and it's just a mixed border just like all our other borders, but we still refer to it as a dahlia bed. So let's start at one end and walk to the other end and have a look. So starting here at this end, we've got one of my favourite dahlias, which is the gorgeous Wizard of Oz. Now this is the size of Wizard of Oz. It really doesn't get much bigger than this. It's so pretty. It's a really very pale pinky colour, and then with age they do darken slightly. Now this is quite tall for Wizard of Oz. It's really not going to get much taller than this. I'd say this is about 2.5 to 3 foot tall. And then right next to it we've got Rocco, which is this gorgeous deep purple. It's a tiny ball dahlia, but dotted in amongst other things. I think that it just really sets off the colours so beautifully. So I do try to dot Rocco in amongst all the other flowers. So directly behind that we have Café de Paris. Now Café de Paris is a dinner plate dahlia, and well, in fact that one's been eaten. So this dahlia, so it's a very sort of creamy buff colour, very cream actually, and I'm not sure I love it. This is the first year I've had Café de Paris. I'm not sure I'm in love with that. And it doesn't really go with the colour scheme at this end of the border. So I'm going to climb in the border here so that I can show you. So this is Normandy Wedding Day, but this one has gone over. It's got a very yellow centre and kind of needs deadheading. So this is more the colour of Normandy Wedding Day. And if I've got an old one, I'll pop it up on the screen to show you what it looked like when it came out. So it's a very pale lilac. And I've also got a lovely white ball. This one is called Blighton Everest. Blighton Everest is a gorgeous white ball with a lovely lavender centre to it. This one is kind of falling over a little bit because we didn't stake it. But this one just goes really nicely with Rocco, not so nicely with that one. And obviously it would go, it's really hard to show you, it goes really nicely with Normandy Wedding Day. And my Cupcakes Cosmos, So this is Cupcake's Blush. I think it's Cupcake's Blush. It doesn't seem to have the inner circle. So to the right of Wizard of Oz, I don't have anything in flower at the moment, but I do have Senior's Hope, and I'll pop a picture up on the screen of what Senior's Hope looks like. But then to the left here, we have Melissa Anamariiki, which is another shorter variety, gorgeous deep purple dahlia. It's got lovely dark foliage. So it starts off this lovely deep purple colour, and then it fades a little bit to a softer colour. Each petal's got a lovely sort of dark purple edge to it because the undersides of each petal are a darker colour. So it's just got a really nice contrast. And this one flowers and flowers and flowers. It just hasn't stopped flowering since it first started. So I think Melissa Anamariiki is a really good doer in my garden. It works really well. And then right next to Melissa Anamariiki, this much taller, lovely pale pink dahlia is called Karma Prospero. This is new to me this year and I love it. So this hasn't needed staking, which is very interesting. So the flower heads, I guess, aren't quite as heavy. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's got these lovely pink veined petals with a softer cream centre. It's quite a flat dahlia and it's got these lovely purple stems which are really gorgeous and just set the flowers off so beautifully. Then in amongst Karma Prospero, I've got another gorgeous pink dahlia. This one is called Bracken Ballerina. So this has got green stems, it's a slightly larger flower and it's a little bit of a softer colour. It doesn't have the same dark veining on it, but it's very similar. So I would say that Bracken Ballerina could do with some staking. It's actually planted over there and it's leaning forwards. So this is another flower of Bracken Ballerina, so it's just fallen forward. So this, as opposed to Karma Prospero, which doesn't seem to need staking, Bracken Ballerina, because it's got larger heads, I guess, has just fallen over. And then as we move along here, we've got two of my favourite collarette dahlias. So the darker rose coloured dahlia is called Edith Jones, and this is just such a bee magnet. Surprisingly, there aren't any bees on it at the moment, but it's just the most gorgeous raspberry pink colour, and I wish I'd planted more of this particular dahlia. It's so, so pretty. So Edith Jones is another one of those dahlias that just keeps flowering whether you deadhead it or not. I do deadhead it, but it just keeps going. The bees absolutely love it. So if you're looking for something to attract wildlife into your garden, then this is definitely it. Right in front of that is a gorgeous little dahlia called Bumble Rumble. And again, this is another one the bees love. It's such a pretty deep colour with this white collarette in the middle. So Bumble Rumble is one of the flowers that I popped up on my Instagram because it is so, so pretty. And as I said, the bees love it. So it's just very attractive to me. I have to say that with my particular Bumble Rumble, I've only got one plant and I seem to sort of only have one flower at a time. So it's not as floriferous as, definitely not as floriferous as Edith Jones, which has got loads of flowers. Bumble Rumble, it just doesn't seem to flower quite as much. This is Bracken Ballerina and Karma Prospero. This is Edith Jones, and then in amongst it, I've got this gorgeous white dahlia. Now this is another dahlia that just flowers and flowers and flowers. It's a little bit gappy at the moment because we had to chop a dead branch of the Elaeagnus off. It was just leaning on everything and just not helping matters, and also it was dead. So that's why there's a big gap here, but there was a swathe of gorgeous white flowers with the lovely silvery foliage in the background. Now this particular dahlia here is called Karma Martin Zwan, and last year I had it planted on the shadier side of this border, the other side of the Elaeagnus, and it did really well there. This year I've planted it on the front and the sunny south-facing side, and again it's done really, really well here. So Karma Martin Zwan gets to, I'd say, about 2 foot tall, and it has these gorgeous, very, very white dahlia flowers with a lovely sort of limey green centre to them. It's about 2 foot tall, maybe just over 2 foot tall, I'd say mostly 2 foot tall. So it's a lovely one for the front of the border, and because it just continuously flowers, it looks really, really nice. The flower heads are not huge, and again, they're quite flat. which is not a problem. I actually think that's one of the reasons why it just keeps going. It will just keep flowering because the flowers aren't too heavy. So this lovely tall white dahlia here, with the white phlox in the background, has had to be staked. So this is new to me this year. It's called White Ballerina, and I probably won't grow it again. And that is simply because the flowers open up and get pollinated really quickly. So not only is it quite weak and it's had to be staked, but they are almost immediately open. So it's supposedly this sort of decorative dahlia, but you can see that it's kind of weak stemmed and very open, so they go over really quickly, and it's not particularly floriferous. I mean, there are quite a few buds, but yeah, I just don't love it. I think it's not long lasting enough. I'm constantly having to deadhead this one. So moving along the bed a little, this is where I've got the gorgeous Eustacia Vi roses. Here I've planted Richard's Fortune. This is this lovely pom-pom anemone style dahlia. I bought Richard's Fortune because my husband's called Richard and I thought it'd be fun, but actually I really love this dahlia now. This I think is 3 plants here. It's a gorgeous dahlia. It's been flowering for ages, flowering its socks off. So it really is so pretty because at the center of each of the flowers, these little petals are tipped with sort of white or cream, and so it looks like it's sparkling. So this is just such a pretty dahlia. This one's going over a bit. You can see the petals are a bit floppy. So when they're just opening up, they're a lovely deep purple colour, and then they open up even more in the centre to form this sort of puffball. It's really gorgeous. You're probably wondering what this huge, enormous dinner plate dahlia is down here. This one is called Shiloh Noel. So you can see there's one going over here. These have very heavy heads, but it's absolutely enormous. It's a very soft pink colour with a lovely darker pink at the centre, almost mauvey coloured. There's a little ladybird hiding in this one here. So this one definitely needs staking. We've tried to put stakes in to prop it up, but we were a bit late because, as I said, it wasn't very well. So this one is leaning over a lot more than it should be, but it is so pretty. And just at the back here, I've got Double Click Rose Bonbon Cosmos, which I think goes really beautifully with the whites and the purples. And there's also another ball dahlia here called Down and Peggy. So Down and Peggy is kind of hiding in the middle here, but it's such a gorgeous colour. Look at this colour combination. It's so pretty. It's got tiny little white bits at the centre of each petal. So I think Down and Peggy is gorgeous. This is another dahlia that I probably should have staked because it's kind of on a slant, it's on a tilt. So we can just make out the Eustacia Vi roses in the background that are still going. And then as we move along here, in amongst the Nicotiana, I've got one of my favourite dahlias called Baleska. Now the flowers on my Baleska this year are smaller than I'm used to. They definitely have been larger in the past. So Baleska has got this lovely combination of the apricot-y tones with the purple. So it just mingles with other dahlias so beautifully because it's the combination of all the colours. So in the background here we've got, this is Cupcake's Blush, the Cosmos Cupcake's Blush with the Baleska. And we can also see in the background some of the Eustacia Vi roses. And I think the Baleska and the Eustacia Vi and the Cupcake's Blush just go really beautifully. I'm loving this colour combination. At the front here, this gorgeous dahlia is called Feline Yvonne. Feline Yvonne is another one of those dahlias that has just been going all summer for me. This is Rudbeckia Irish Eyes. And I've got a Nicotiana over here. This one's called Crimson Bedder. It's actually looking like it needs some water or something. It's not coping well. At the bottom here, this phlox is called Creme Brulee. And I think this colour combination, it's just everything sparkles, everything stands out. Possibly the Cupcake's Blush is a little bit too white, but if we get close, it does actually go really nicely with Feline Yvonne. It's such a pretty cosmos. So Feline Yvonne has very similar coloration to, I'd say, American Dawn, a little bit like Daisy Duke. So it's this lovely sort of peachy pink with a purple centre. So as we move along from the Feel and Yvonne, there's another Down and Peggy just hiding away behind the Nicotiana there. And then we move along to the end of the bed here. So this dark crimson dahlia is supposed to be American Dawn. It's not. Just ignore it. I've been sent a mistake. But what we do have here is a couple of my favourites. So at the front, we've got Liquid Desire. Liquid Desire is this gorgeous sort of clarity wine coloured dahlia with a yellow centre. It's not particularly big, but boy, does it keep flowering. And again, because it's open centred, it is a magnet for the pollinators. And then right behind it, this purpley yellow dahlia is one of my favourites. So this one is called Happy Butterfly. Now, I don't know if I've been sent the wrong dahlia this year, because I did have Happy Butterfly last year and it was taller than this, or whether it's just been slow to grow because of all the slug and snail pressure. But you can see that it's just got, it's a lovely soft yellow colour, and then it's just got this purple striation to it. It's got purple streaks on the underside. It's so pretty. And then directly behind it, this peachy coloured dahlia is called Natalie G. Now Natalie G is new to me this year and I love it. I'm definitely going to be getting more Natalie G next year because it's such a soft peachy mauvey colour, and I think it goes really nicely with the catalpa. So this is Natalie G. Some flowers are bigger than others. And I think this particular plant has got more apricot tones than that plant over there, which has got more purpley tones, but they're exactly the same. They were both Natalie G. This is Baleska, one of my favourites here. And I just think it goes really nicely with Liquid Desire and Natalie G. And then in the background, I've got Double Click Cranberries Cosmos. This side of the border is fairly similar, but not exactly the same. So we've got a couple of Feel and Yvonne's, we've got Liquid Desire, and then at the back there, just in front of more white phlox, is more of the Rocco, which I think it just really adds something if we just pop it in amongst the other flowers. So right at the front here, we can see one of my failures this year. The status, for some reason, has just fallen over. It did not stand up, and I don't know why. I'm not sure what's going on there. So this cosmos is called Rubenza. And then here we've got Jowie Winnie, which is a really pretty dahlia. I'm not sure why all the flowers are facing the wrong way. This is another Jowie Winnie over here, and this one is a lot taller and looking a lot healthier. And in the background, we can see the blue echinopsis. We've got a lovely Scabiosa here. This one is called Burgundy Bow, and I just think it goes really nicely. It picks out a lot of the colours. So this is Maya at the base here. So this is Maya here, and then there's more Maya along here. Now Maya has been flowering its socks off all summer, and I probably should have fed it because it's starting to look a little bit weak and feeble. So that's one thing I would say about the Mayas that started flowering early. The ones that flowered first are just, I don't know, they're starting to peter out a bit and could probably do with some food. Now it's a little bit gappy here because there are a few things that haven't flowered that were supposed to. So I was supposed to have a Mambo down here. That didn't come to anything. This one here, this is called Olida or Alida, and yeah, I don't know, it's new to me this year and I don't love it. So when it first starts out, it looks okay. And these were huge flowers like earlier on this season, but then almost immediately Olida or Olida becomes very open flowered and it just gets pollinated really quickly. So the flowers die really quickly. You can see that it's looking very, leggy. So it's kind of not a lot of foliage and just a lot of long stems, and yes, I could cut them all back, but I really wanted the flowers so that I could show you what they look like. So on the end of the bed here we've got another Jowie Winnie. Again, this one's looking a lot happier, and then right at the front here, this is supposed to be Senior's Hope. I mean, it is Senior's Hope, it's just not flowering very well. So this end of the flower bed did flower really early on and it looked absolutely beautiful. But as the season's gone on, it's become more and more tired, and I possibly could have fed it a bit more. So let's go round to this bed over here. So this bed has no shrubs or anything in it, and it's just been planted up with dahlias this year. It will eventually have other things in it, but this year it's a new rejuvenated bed, so we didn't put anything else in it. So the bee was really enjoying Princess Nadine, which is this gorgeous, I mean, this is definitely another one of my favourite dahlias here at the front. You know, this one's lost a few petals, but it is ever so pretty. This is a really nice deep pink colour, and I love this one. I'm supposed to have 2 of these in this flower bed. This fluffy ball above it, this is Janny P. This is the first flower I've had from it. I think they're called fimbrillated or something like that. These really fluffy ones. I do find them very attractive. I really love them. So this is just opening now. It's taken this long for this particular plant to flower. And then right behind these 2, oh my goodness, this is new to me this year. This is called Fenna Beige, and look how gorgeous this is. So this is another anemone style dahlia. It's a bit like Richard's Fortune. It's smaller and less dark purple, but again it's got these sort of golden tips to it, so it just shines out. And this one has flowered its socks off. Absolutely gorgeous. I love this dahlia. So Fenna Beige is definitely one I'm going to repeat next year. This is a new one for me this year. And then just popping up above Fenna Beige is this lovely pink dahlia here. This one is called Jarry Frambo. Again, another new one to me this year, and I'm really enjoying it. It's flowered for ages. We have had to stake it, but it seems to be doing really well. And it's just got really nice shaped Barbie pink balls. They're not particularly large. That's how big they are compared to my small hands. So then we come on to a couple of mistakes that I've made. So the first mistake that I've made is that I planted one of my favourite dahlias called Night Silence in this bed. Now at the beginning of the season, Night Silence looked really good because it had less of the orange tones and more of the purple tones. But as the season's gone on, it really doesn't go particularly well. This sort of dusky apricot-y colour doesn't go particularly well with the brighter colours that I've got planted in that area. Then as we move along here, this bright green leaved dahlia, I haven't had any flowers from it yet, but I have got some buds. This one's called Millie. I'll be sure to show you that when it does eventually flower. There's another Rocco in the front, some more Night Silence. So this is more double click Rose Bonbon, Cosmos. This is Wine-Eyed Jill. Very small flowers late in the season, but it has been going for absolutely ages. This is more the coloration of Night Silence when it first starts out in the season. So you can see it's got more purpley tones to it. I'll pop a picture up on the screen of what Night Silence looked like at the beginning of the season. So at the base here, we've got Senior's Hope. It's a lot more purple than that at the beginning of the season, I feel, but it's really pretty still. Senior's Hope is quite a short dahlia. So then we've got more Rocco in the background here. We've got Great Silence at the back, one of my all-time favourite dahlias. And this is more Maya here. So this Maya is looking a lot happier and healthier. This is Maya here at the front. And then we've got more Balaska at the back. And then this gorgeous dahlia on the end here is called Jerry Hoke. And Jerry Hoke is new to me this year and was one of the first dahlias to flower, and it's still going strong. We've had to stake it quite a lot, but I really love the coloration. It's so pretty, really soft peachy pink with little highlights of yellow at the centre. I'll pop a picture up on the screen because the flowers were a lot bigger at the beginning of the season. So just walking around the other side of the bed here, we can see a shorter Great Silence and the little purple flowered here. This is much lighter than Rocco. This one is called Willow's Violet. Just think, orange and purple look so cute together. So Willow's Violet's got little white edges, I'd say. It's a lovely small ball. It's bigger than Rocco and less deep purple. And then in the background we can see Wine-Eyed Jill, which is looking very yellow at this time of the year, but still has purple tinges to the petals. So if we move from this bed where the Jerry Hoke is, and If I spin you all the way around, you can see my bucket for deadheading. I always have a bucket with me. We're going to walk down this side of the border here now because there are some gorgeous dahlias here. We're going to start off with this one in the front, which is called Takeoff, which is this gorgeous purple. I don't know if it's an anemone or collarette, but it's kind of got a fluffy centre, so it's probably an anemone style dahlia. And it's a lovely lilac-y purple colour with a creamy yellow centre. So this one probably gets to about 3 foot. It was slow to start flowering, but now that it's started, it really is doing so well and looking very, very pretty. So this is a very young flower here. And then in the background there, you can see that the centres get a lot fluffier as they get older. So this one definitely needs, I'd say, constant deadheading. It is very pretty. I think the only problem I would say about Takeoff is that, well, the flowers do look outwards slightly, but because it's so short, you kind of have to be at the right level to see how pretty the flowers are. So it's not my favourite anemone / collarette style dahlia, just because it's harder to see the flowers. I mean, there is one that's slightly taller up here. Let's move down here and have a look at that enormous flower. So this is a lovely dinner plate dahlia called Otto's Thrill. It's kind of going over, you can see that by these petals here, but it is absolutely beautiful. It's a really, really lovely colour. I'd say this is one of my favourites, and also because it's not too tall, but it's upward facing, you can really appreciate the blooms. I think it goes really nicely with the auroch, which has self-seeded here in this flower bed. This is some kind of spinach, but it's kept for the lovely little seed heads, which look really attractive in arrangements. So as we move along here, we can see the gorgeous delphiniums in the background, the purple, and then this dahlia, and kind of the one that's snuck in the background over there. This is called Caitlin's Joy, and I think this is a better dahlia than Baleska because it's a very similar coloration, but it's more upright and the flowers are bigger, and I think it's absolutely gorgeous with the purples. So then, as we move down here, this makes me so happy. So these dahlias are predominantly called Strawberry Cream. I think it might be called Strawberries and Cream in the States, but this is only 3 plants and look how many flowers there are, and they have been flowering their socks off. This dahlia is absolutely amazing. I really, really love the coloration. I mean, just look how many flowers there are on this one plant. So some of them have got darker stripes, and as they start out, they're very pale. And oh my goodness, it's beautiful. I think it goes really nicely with the whites and the blues. This is Scabiosa Fama Blue that I've got in this bed, and in the background is Salvia Amistad. And then I've got some lovely white cosmos. There's a white dahlia over here. This one is called Rycroft Porcelain, and if we come through here, there's some amaranth that is self-seeded, and that colour goes really nicely with Strawberry Cream. So I think the self-seeded amaranth is amazing, and I wish I'd planted it. Like, I wish I'd thought to plant that myself, but I didn't actually sow any amaranth this year. And then behind this particular one, there's a lovely, lovely pink dahlia. This one is called Eye Candy. It's wonderfully tall. It doesn't seem to have needed staking, and it is the most perfect soft pink ball dahlia, and I wish I had more of that. There's another white ball dahlia here. That one is called Skelmersdale Jane. It's got a lovely purple centre, which I will show you when we get closer, or I'll pop a picture up on the screen. And then this enormous dinner plate dahlia here is called Breakout. So I'd say it's a warmer pink than Otto's Thrill. It is gorgeous. They're enormous. It's needed staking. So this is Breakout. It's kind of got a lemony yellow centre to it. And then as we move along, this is another dahlia that is only just starting to flower now at the end of August, which, to be honest with you, I find that quite shocking. But look at this colour. It's gorgeous. It's gorgeous. It's obviously going to have quite big flowers. It's called Hamari Girl. So just moving along from the other side of the arch to over here, we've got a couple more dahlias that I just wanted to talk through. So the white coloured dahlia is more Karma Martin's one that was in the other bed near the Eleagnus. But this pinky coloured dahlia is Pink Runner. Now I think Pink Runner is less pink than I was expecting. So again, this is another new dahlia to me this year. It's definitely a very warm pink colour, but I do think it looks quite nice with the white. I think it's really nicely offset. So now we're going to move down to this bottom border over here where I've got absolutely stacks of dahlias. Let's take a look. So this rose here is called Souvenir. And then these dahlias here are a mixture of Sir Alf Ramsey and Sasha. And then right at the front, in amongst the Gypsophila, is Wishes and Dreams. Now Wishes and Dreams has been a bit disappointing. I think it goes really nicely with the Gypsophila, but not very many flowers bloom at once, and they go over really quickly because again they get pollinated so fast. But it is very cute. It's just a little bit small. It is really nice and bright though, so when it's in flower I think it looks wonderful. And I kind of wish I'd planted them more in the middle of the Gypsophila rather than on the edge here. So there's another Wishes and Dreams just here. Then we've got the Melope Rose, which doesn't go particularly well with the purpley coloured Sir Alf Ramsey and Sasha. Sir Alf Ramsey is the enormous, absolutely enormous dinner plate one. It's so fat and it's just gorgeous. It's this one here. This is Sir Alf Ramsey. There's a slightly smaller flower here. And then this one is Sasha. This is also Sasha. So I think Sasha's gorgeous. And I actually got Sasha because it sounds a little bit like Natasha, which is my daughter's name. You can see a theme here. This is Potomac Lavender, Snapdragon. So then as we move along, next to the purple, I planted something with more orangey tones. So this one at the front here is called Palmares. All of these deep apricot-y coloured ones are Daisy Duke. And then the yellow one popping out of the top is called Alloway Cottage. Let's take a closer look. So this is Palmares. So Palmares has this lovely apricot tone to it with a lovely purple centre. And it's a really nice round ball shape. And then Daisy Duke is definitely becoming one of my firm favourites. I really like it because look how many flowers there are. This is 3 plants, maybe 4 plants actually. But oh my goodness, it's gorgeous. Just popping over the top of Daisy Duke, we've got another one of these fimbriated ones. Are they called fimbriated, fibulated? Can't remember. This is Myrtle's Folly, which I absolutely love. It's so unusual and I love the coloration of it. It's on slightly weak stems and we have had to stake it. So this is Daisy Duke. And then this is more of the Myrtle's Folly here. So this is just starting out. This is as it gets older. And you know, they're definitely very heavy floppy heads. Probably needs staking better than it has been, to be honest with you. And then I've got a lovely rose in the centre there. This is one of my great joys. So this is a penstemon that I grew from seed this year. It's called Twizzle Coral. It's so cute. And it goes so nicely with the dahlias I've got planted down here. Up at the back here, we've got April Heather and Penhill Watermelon. Let me show you those up close. So April Heather is one that's flowered slightly later for me this year, but it just keeps going. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's another one of these collarette dahlias with a really soft, gentle colour. And I do think it goes really nicely with Penhill Watermelon, which is massive. Massive. Over here we've got Scabiosa Burgundy Bow, we've got another Penhill Watermelon, and then in the background here is Happet Champagne. I'll show you that when we go around the other side of the border because it's so pretty. And then right at the front, behind this Nicotiana Crimson Bedder, is a dahlia called Mylena Fleur, which is new to me this year and has become one of my absolute all-time favourite dahlias. It's such a pretty colour and I love the flower shape. This is Mylena Fleur. So this is how it starts and this is how it ends up. It's so pretty. And look how many flowers are on this one plant. So this is Happet Champagne in the background. This is Mylena Fleur. And this is called Bellefleur. Bellefleur is a little bit more orange than I would like. I don't know, tangerine maybe? But it's got a really nice shape to the flower. Well, that's not a particularly good example, but the petals curve really nicely. It's not huge, it's quite a small flowered dahlia. And then next to it is another new one for me this year. This one is called Alicia, and I love Alicia. I need to have more Alicia in my life because it's a really perfect colour. I think it would go with so many other dahlias. And I don't know, is this an anemone style dahlia? It doesn't have the outer petals really, but it's this really lovely fluffy ball. Let me get you in close. It's not particularly big, but there certainly have been quite a number of flowers on it. You can see one I need to deadhead over here. So it's just so cute. That's what it looks like with bellflower. So here you can see how bellflower's petals just curve around, which I think is really attractive. So Alicia's another one of these dahlias that's got sort of gold tips to the petals, just makes it sort of sparkle. And then in the background, behind all of these, I've got Dazzler. This is Cosmos Dazzler, which I think just sets it all off really beautifully. So here's another bellflower in amongst all the Verbena bonariensis. It's quite tall, bellflower. I'd say this one is probably, well, 4 foot, I'd say. Yeah, 120 to up to the top here. That's 4 foot. And then, as we move along, this gorgeous open collarette dahlia is called Teesbrook Audrey, and Teesbrook Audrey is another one that's been flowering its socks off. The pollinators love it, and it's just such a soft, gentle colour. I think it's really, really pretty. So in the background, just through the undergrowth, the darker coloured dahlia over there is called Barbary Pip. It's a lovely, deep red, kind of magenta, deep magenta coloured dahlia. It probably doesn't belong in this bed. I may have got the colour slightly wrong. I will show you that one when we go around the other side because there is another Barbary Pip over here. Here at the front, we've got some more Melissa Anna Mariiki. You can see how much this one flowers. This is 3 plants, but it just keeps going. Such a perfect coloured dahlia. Over here, I skipped over this one because it's the wrong dahlia. This one is supposed to be a dahlia called Late, or Late, and it's not. I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. But it was new to me this year, so they sent me the wrong one. Some more Teesbrook Audrey here. So pretty and wafty and just such a gentle, dainty dahlia. Really love it. So here we have some more Potomac Lavender Snapdragons, and then this beautiful ball dahlia here with so many flowers. This is one plant. This is called Rhonda, and again this is another one that I definitely want next year. It's very small balls, but it's quite tall, and I think it would go really nicely with some of the other dahlias. But look how nicely it goes with Potomac Lavender Snapdragon. So it is quite small again. It's bigger than Rocco, but it's not huge. But I think it's really pretty. It's got that lovely creamy white centre to it. Then as we move along, here, this is my 2nd year trying Babylon Bronze, and I know that there's a lot of talk about Babylon Bronze, but I am not loving it. It's sparse, it doesn't flower very much, very few flowers, and I don't know, it's just not my kind of thing. I'm not going to be growing Babylon Bronze again, Babylon Bronze. But right next to it, you can see how well purple and orange go together. They're just gorgeous. This is Blue Bayou. Blue Bayou is one of my first ever dahlias, and then I lost Blue Bayou in a freeze when I lost a lot of dahlias, but I got a new one this year and I think it's gorgeous. It's another one of these sort of anemone style dahlias. So this one over here, this is Babylon Bronze, and then the paler sort of apricot ball dahlia down at the bottom is called Late. So this is what Late is supposed to look like. It's all right. It's nothing special. I feel like it's nothing special. But what we do have up at the top is Great Silence, which is this gorgeous tall dahlia here. This is one of the reasons why I love Great Silence. It just stands out and it's such a vibrant, warm colour. Really, really love it. And then the mauvey coloured dahlia, lavender coloured dahlia, the ball behind is Megan Dean. And I like Megan Dean with Great Silence. I just think they're very special. So this is standing at the very bottom of the bed here. So there's another Late at the front here, Megan Dean, Great Silence. And this is an astrantia called Venice. And then tucked in behind, we've got a dahlia called Rosemary Dawn. In fact, there's a better Rosemary Dawn to show you just there. So this is Rosemary Dawn. It's another lovely warm toned dahlia with sort of red edges to the petal, maroon edges to the petal in the centre. I really like it. So this is Megan Dean. I mean, how pretty is that coloration? It's so, so pretty. I'll pop a picture up of what Megan Dean looked like last year as well, because I can't remember what I had it planted with actually, but it was really nice. I had it planted near the catalpa, you know, more of the sort of limey green. So I've got that here with the Physocarpus. I just think the colours go really nicely. So this is Great Silence. This is another Great Silence. So this is Barbary Pip here. And Barbary Pip, I think it's beautiful actually, one of my favourites. So right in front, well in fact at the back of the border, I've got this enormous dahlia here. This one is called Giocondo, so it's only just started flowering. It's another one that was really late to start flowering. But these are quite big and the most incredible deep colour. I can't even remember if this is the colour it's supposed to be. The petals are a little bit splotched actually. And I don't know whether that's something that is also supposed to happen. So I'm not sure why they're splotched white, but that's what it looks like at the moment. That's Giocondo. So we've moved down to the southern side of the bottom bed here, and there are lots of gorgeous dahlias. Let me take you along here. So this is where I've got some lovely roses that have been flowering their socks off. This is Susan Daniel. And this is Rosemary Harkness, and they're my warmer apricot peachy toned roses, and so I've planted dahlias accordingly. So the front here, this is more of the bellflower. Over here, lying down, because it's fallen over, is Vancouver. I'll pop a picture of Vancouver up on the screen because that one's facing the wrong way. But right behind bellflower here, there's a tiny little ball. This one is called Willows Borealis. So we've had Willows Violet. This one is Willows Borealis. It's slightly smaller, I think, than Willows Violet, only slightly. But again, it's a lovely colour contrast, I think, with the peachy apricot tones. And then along the front here, I've got a couple of Linda's babies. So there's Linda's baby here, and then a few more along here. This is Linda's baby. It's kind of facing the wrong way. And then there's another Willows Borealis here in the background. This horrible yellow thing here is supposed to be a dahlia called Lake Tahoe, and it just isn't. I don't know what this is, so I'm not keeping this dahlia. If anyone wants it and lives near me, you're welcome to it. I definitely don't want it. So there's another bellflower here, and then the ball-shaped dahlia behind it is Ivanetti. So I think Ivanetti is very similar to Barbary Pip in coloration and in size and in height. They're both gorgeous. This one's possibly got more sort of purple tones. You can definitely see purple tones on the underside of the petals. But I just really love this colour combination. So we've got Linda's baby here, Willows Borealis, Ivanetti, bellflower, and then that's Rosemary Harkness in the background. And then behind that, that's a cosmos called Dahlia. So we're around the other side of the bed. And then over here, this one over here is Happet Champagne. So this one here is labelled as peaches, but it's definitely not peaches. It's some kind of, I mean, it's a gorgeous dahlia. I'm going to keep it, but I don't know what it is. I mean, it looks a little, I don't know what that looks like. It's not cafe au lait, but anyway, I don't know what that is, but I shall be keeping it even though it's not peaches. So peaches is this dahlia here. And I mean, everyone raves about peaches, but I am not in love with peaches. I don't like the white and the peach colour. I think it's a little bit too orange for me. I definitely prefer the smoother Linda's baby. I mean, to me, this is just a nicer dahlia. I prefer the coloration to peaches. I don't know, maybe I was sent the wrong thing and it's not peaches at all, but I mean, that's peaches there. I don't think it's that great. It's a nice big size. It's just not my colour. This one down here is called Orange Fubuki, and I think I would really like it if I had it planted in the right flower bed. So it really should be in my grass border and not here. It goes quite well with the peaches, but I don't think it belongs in this border. And then as we move along here, these are the dahlias I showed you already. So this is Daisy Duke. The tall yellow one is Aloe Cottage. There's another one here. This white one here, I'll go around my apple tree. This white one here is quite short, but it's a lovely white ball, and this is called Rosemary Dawn Natasha. So I'll definitely be planting that in a different spot next year. This is Aloe Cottage. I mean, it's got this lovely mauvey centre to it, but it's very, very yellow. Again, possibly something that I should plant in my grass border, which I'll show you more of in a minute. This dahlia here is called Fashionmonger. It's a really gorgeous magenta colour with a cream centre. Lovely collarette dahlia. Not sure how much I love it with the Sir Alf Ramsey, which is that huge one there, and Sasha, but it does go quite well with the Scabiosa. This dahlia is called Rosemary Blush. Absolutely enormous pink decorative dahlia. It's so gorgeous. So we've got Rosemary Blush here, and then there's another Maya here. Again, this was later to flower and so is just looking healthier. This is another Rosemary Blush here. There is a pale pink ball dahlia in the background there. This one is called Gertler Twilight, and I do think it's gorgeous. It's just planted in the wrong place. It's too far back in the border, but it's lovely. So this is Rosemary Blush Maya. This one here is called Pink Perception. It's so upright with lovely upright facing flowers, and I love it. Look how upright these flowers are. Again, it's just a really lovely pink colour. So as we move around the bed, I've walked around the bottom now. So this is more Pink Perception. And then we move on to this gorgeous, tall, lovely pink dahlia. This one is called Sweet Love. And again, it's quite upright. I haven't had to stake them. It's a lovely, cool pink colour with a white centre to it. And, you know, nice big flowers. If we just pop round this side, we can see there's some more Fashionmonger in the centre there. So now we're going to go over to the last border over here, where I've got the warmer coloured dahlias. So starting off here, this dahlia here and this one here, they're called Phyllis Farmer, and the flowers are a lot smaller than I was anticipating, but they are quite pretty, but I wouldn't have spaced them quite so far apart. It's a very pretty colour actually, and I'll show you one in a minute that looks very similar but is doing much better. So very similar coloration. So behind this Phyllis Farmer is another Rosemary Blush, which I showed you earlier. So Rosemary Blush, it's this gorgeous apricot with a winey coloured centre to it. I think Rosemary Blush is lovely. So looking at this border from this angle, these are all Phyllis Farmer at the front. So we can see that they're sort of very different heights. There's a short one over there, taller. They're a little bit sparse, but what I do have here is another Liquid Desire and Rosemary Blush. And I think they look gorgeous together. So Liquid Desire is this lovely purpley one, and this is Rosemary Blush. And then if we pop over here to this one, this is the one that I think looks a little bit like Phyllis Farmer, but is better. And this is called Mr. Franz. So it's quite interesting because this is how the flowers start. And then as they fade, they become this sort of weird shape. But I think it's really interesting and I like it. And this is just one plant and I think it's got a lot of flowers. So I'm really happy with this one, and I'm more likely to get Mr. Franz than to get Phyllis Farmer again. Phyllis Farmer has got more rose colour to it, but I think it's quite similar. So there are a couple of failures in this bed here, dahlias that didn't come to anything, but what I do have here is Kilburn Glow. So Kilburn Glow is this incredibly bright dahlia here, and I think I did show this when I was doing the grass border tour. It's really super bright if you're looking for something really bright. And then behind that, this huge dahlia here, this is called Hamari Gold. And actually, I really like Hamari Gold. I think it's a nicer colour than Babylon Bronze. So the flowers are super big, and it's a really rusty warm colour. I really, really like it. Hamari Gold's gorgeous. So these little balls at the back here are more wine-eyed Jill. Definitely got a wine eye to it. So we can see why maybe Alloway Cottage would look better in this border, because it's got more of this sort of coloration that I've got going on here. So a lot of these dahlias we can see are either wine-eyed Jill or Cornell Bronze. However, there is one over here. It's fallen over, so bear with me. It should have been staked. This is La Corbière, and I think La Corbière is absolutely gorgeous. And down here, this dahlia is called High Fidelity. This is new to me this year. It's quite similar to Palmares in size and colour. These are the first flowers I've had from it. There's also a dahlia here on the right of it that's called Mango Madness that hasn't flowered yet. So I'll show you that. I'll be sure to show you that in a future video when it does flower. But look at High Fidelity. That's beautiful. Such a lovely deep coloured centre. So this is Cornell Bronze. Really gorgeous dahlia. So we're just going to finish up on this border here where I've had quite a lot of failures. There are quite a lot of dahlias that haven't bloomed yet, but I'll show you the ones that have. So I have had flowers from Hamari Rose. These are all my Queen of Swedens in this bed. So this was where Hamari Rose was, and I'll pop a picture up on the screen of when it was in flower. And then I've got JS Dorothy Rose hiding behind this rose here. So let me get a better view of that because it's facing the other way. It's a lovely deep pink dahlia, a nice ball. And then as we come to the unkempt part of our garden, I have got a couple of dahlias down here. So this one is called Vancouver, and I bought Vancouver because we love Vancouver. We've been a few times, and it is a really pretty dahlia. But as you saw in the bottom flower bed, it fell over, so it does need staking. And then behind that, we have Florinor. And Florinor is really gorgeous. I do also have some Florinor in the front garden. So Florinor is a really, really pretty anemone style dahlia, and I think it's a better dahlia than Takeoff. It is taller than this in the front garden, so it definitely does get taller because that's only about 60 centimetres at most. But it gets a little bit taller than that, I'd say up to 80 or 90. Got these lovely soft pink petals with a yellow centre to them. So here on the patio in my pots I planted much smaller dahlias. Some have been a success and some haven't. So the first one that isn't a success is this one here, Kelsiani Joy. I am growing it for the second time because I thought it might do better in a pot, but I don't love it. I mean, it's quite pretty if you get up close to the flower, but the plant itself is not that attractive and just can't stand on its own in a pot. It's got these lovely pink tips to the internal collarette, but the plant itself is just boring. However, this one here is gorgeous. So this is Palmares, and I had it in borders last year and I decided that it would do much better in a pot, and it has. It looks gorgeous in a pot. And it's right next to this one here, which is called Purple Flame. And I think Purple Flame really goes well with Palmares, but it also looks really nice with my rose, Harlow Car. It's a David Austin rose called Harlow Car. And I think Purple Flame is just so vibrant and cute. So Purple Flame is next to Offshore Dream. Offshore Dream is a lovely pink dahlia with sort of white tints to it. So that's Offshore Dream, and then in the background we've got Wizard of Oz, one of my favourite dahlias. This plant here that looks a bit sickly is called Heart and Arse, and I will not be keeping Heart and Arse. I'll put a picture up on the screen of what it looks like, but it just doesn't flower enough, and it really struggled last year. It's struggling again this year. This one is this one here is Creme de Cassis. It doesn't have any flowers at the moment, so again I'll put a picture up on the screen of that one when it was in flower. And then on this side, it's very, very simpler. It's very, very similar. So this side we've got another Creme de Cassis over here, Palmares, Purple Flame, Offshore Dream, and Wizard of Oz. And then I thought I'd just go as a final hurrah along this side of the border, because there's some really interesting dahlias here. So this one is called Jossudi Andromeda, and it's new to me this year, and I absolutely love it. I wish I hadn't planted it here around this side where it's not really seen very much. It's kind of behind a tree, but it's just flowering its socks off. It's doing really, really well. And then next to that, this tiny little, tiny, minute pink ball dahlia is called Hallmark. And I've been trying to grow this for a couple of years, and I think I'm finally going to give up. It's not pretty enough, and it's so small. It's probably the smallest dahlia I've got. And then next to that, we've got another white ball dahlia, and this one is called Rycroft Jan. So I've got Rycroft Jan down this end and Rycroft Porcelain down that end. We'll go down there. But first of all, in the front here, this dahlia is called Silver Years. Can't remember if I've shown you Silver Years already, whether I've got it somewhere else in the garden, but it's so pretty. Really lovely dahlia. This lovely tall pink dahlia up here is called Pearl of Hampstead. It's so pretty. We have had to stake it. It's blowing around quite a lot in the wind. It's a lovely flat pink dahlia with white edges. And then in the background there's more Teesbrook Audrey. And then this huge dinner plate dahlia here. This one is called Fairway Pilot. Lovely dusky pink tones, and it's not too tall. Then we've got some more Caitlin's Joy behind it. Not sure what's happened to this one here. That's a very weird looking one. And then this white ball over here is Rycroft Porcelain, very similar to Rycroft Jan. But that's about it for today. I really hope you've enjoyed this tour of all the dahlias in the garden. And if you've got any questions at all, leave them in the comments below. If you have enjoyed the video, do give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more dahlia videos in the coming weeks, because I'm definitely going to be separating them and doing comparisons so that we can take a look at those and plan for next season. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today, and I'll see you all next time.